All right, welcome everybody to the Kingdom Politics Podcast. I am Pastor Will, and he is Dr. Michael Huffman. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Awesome.
Good. Back home.
Yeah, we're back. Probably for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Back in our normal spot.
Yeah.
Today we got 3 different segments we're going to do, 3 different stories we're going to do, but it's all got a common theme. And that common theme is the same theme we do almost all the time, why we're being called as Christians to stand in every area of life.
Yeah.
Jesus is king over everything. Public square, our lives, everything. And so we're going to look at 3 different stories today. But first, since we did a couple interviews with people for it all connects. Voting connects. So the primaries, if you listen and you live in Virginia, we got listeners everywhere though.
Yeah.
But we live in Virginia, so we're going to talk about Virginia for a minute. We had the primaries yesterday for Virginia. Of course, the midterm elections are this fall. And I'm going to put a graphic up on the screen. Now, these are unofficial results. They're not official voter counts until they tell us everything that went on. But the voter turnout was not great. Here it is. So we'll share this. So, well, right off the bat, just one kind of qualifier, other than that these are unofficial results. The other qualifier is that not every single primary was, not everywhere had a primary. And so some of the low voter turnouts are due to that. But overall, best case scenario, when everything's counted and voted, you're looking at 8% of the registered voters in Virginia came out and voted in the primaries.
Yeah.
That's best case.
Yeah.
Right now we're at a hair over 4% turnout.
Yeah.
There's over 6 million registered voters in the state of Virginia. 268,000 ballots cast. I mean, it sounds like a lot of ballots until you realize we're talking about the entire state of Virginia.
Right.
And so it wasn't a large turnout.
Yeah.
And particularly on the Republican side, I didn't break down these numbers. Maybe when they become official, we'll come back and revisit this and look at the breakdown between Republican and Democrat. I didn't want to do too much of that with them being unofficial numbers. I just kind of wanted to show people what a low voter turnout it was in all the different places.
And one of the things that we've got in Virginia, and not every state is like this, but one of the things that we have in Virginia is you could be a registered Republican or a registered Democrat and vote the opposite party in a primary. I remember yesterday going to the polls and them asking what primary do you want to vote in? And of course I tell them the Republican or whatever people do. But people say, well, what big deal is that? Well, here's a big deal. If I'm a Democrat and we're going up against an incumbent, let's say in my district.
Yeah.
I'm in Congressional District 5, which is one of the largest districts in the Commonwealth. And it's also a Ruby Red district.
Right.
And right now, John McGuire is our congressman. He used to be a state senator in Richmond, but now he's a congressman in Washington. And he went up against Melanie Lucera, who's a real estate agent in Spotsylvania. And Tom Perello won the Democrat primary. It was like 4 or 5 on the Democrat side running. Now, the key is to this, folks, is if you remember back in Obama's first term, Tom Perello was a congressman in Washington during Obama's first term. However, the district is quite a bit different than it was then because it doesn't include Charlottesville anymore. So he's running in a completely different district than he was. But my point is this: if I'm a registered Democrat and I want Tom Perello to win, I pretty much know that he's going to win the Democrat primary and I want him to win at the general election. What I can do as a registered Democrat is I can go into the poll, tell them that I want a Republican ballot, vote for the Republican that is the weakest so that they get enough votes to win the primary so that my guy can beat them during the general. And Democrats have done that. They have purposely gone into and voted in a primary opposite their party just to get the weakest of the candidates on the Republican side to win so they can flip the seat.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think, of course, that wasn't successful. Melanie only got like a little bit over 14% of the vote. John got over 85% of the vote yesterday. And I don't think Tom is going to beat John in that district. But that's what happens in Virginia because you do not have to vote your party in a primary.
Yeah, it is an odd thing that we have where you can't, where you don't have to vote your party. I guess my concern is really just the turnout.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, 4.2% turnout.
Yeah,
unofficial. Yeah, that's pathetic.
Yeah, even unofficial numbers, even if they come up, they're not going to come up that much. And if Virginia has learned anything in the last fall's elections, they have consequences.
Yeah,
and you would think we would have got fired up to go and vote, but the opposite happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people that both of us talked to didn't even know I'm not judging anybody. This isn't a judgment. This is just a statement. A lot of people that both of us talked to didn't even know that primaries were going on.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And so it's not a surprise that there's not a lot of people out voting then.
No.
And it's interesting to me. I'm not quite sure. I understand the Republican Party is probably saving their money for the general. I get that part of it, but there wasn't a lot out there.
No.
to help people understand what was going on and to understand. And look, we have to meet people where they're at too, which part of it is educating people on the primary process.
Yeah.
We can't take for granted that people just know these things automatically and automatically know the process and when to vote, where to vote, all those things. You can't take any of that stuff for granted. And especially in today's world where it's so easy, you could have live streamed a bunch of stuff. You and I live stream every week. We figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And if my youngest son will say, if dad can figure it out, anybody can figure it out.
Yeah, we did have some help, to be fair.
Yeah.
But we figured it out.
Now, what most people don't know, did you know that there's an independent running under Congressional District 7?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an independent running.
Really?
It's her name is Alea Harar. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. Of course, she's not a viable candidate because no independent is going to win a national race. But she has raised no money. But here's what people, and since we're broadcasting from CD7,
yeah,
I bring this up. We're right in the heart of Congressional District 7.
We are.
So I bring this up. So our viewers, of course, like you said, we're worldwide. Well, that sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? We are worldwide.
It's wild, right?
It is wild. Anyway.
People will listen to anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We really are worldwide.
Yeah, we are. We really are. We're not kidding, folks. We really are worldwide. But we're broadcasting right in the heart of Congressional District 7. So we want our listeners in Congressional District 7 to realize what Doug Olivet's up against. As of July 15th, he had raised $251,000.
Correct.
He's going up against $12.3 million in Eugene Vidman because, well, they pour money in from out of state.
Yes,
so
they do.
Doug has got a uphill battle. I'm not saying it's not surmountable, and I'm not saying it's insurmountable because God can do anything. But from a political standpoint, as far as looking at the money, now of course this was a little less than a whole month before the primary, so certainly he'll bring in more money. Yeah. I don't know that Doug is going to get anywhere near $1 million. in donations, much less 12.3.
Well, and that's part of where I guess a little bit of my frustration is not so much the money part, but people if more people would have been involved in the primary process and had met the candidates or at least heard them and went and voted for them, you're more likely to give, you're more likely to help or volunteer. You don't always have to give money, but volunteer, whatever it is, you're more likely to do those things. And now, he's the nominee for District 7, and that's great. And he ran a good race, and
he did.
He did. And it's nothing against him at all.
No.
It's just
the way it is.
It's just the way it is. There's just not a lot of people voted.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, District 7 had one of the higher turnouts, but it was still low. So
yeah,
the top of the low. I don't know that's one you want to hang your hat on, but that's where we're at. And I guess a little bit of my frustration is the Republican Party needs to, like we both played sports, and you lose, like we did in the fall time. When we lost a football game, which one year I lost literally every single football game, so I watched a lot of game tape of us losing. And tried to make adjustments. You have to make adjustments.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appear that they're doing that.
No.
And it's not about spending money. A lot of this stuff you can do without spending a ton of money.
Right.
You just have to understand the technology. We've said it a million times. You can move faster than they're moving. And you can do a lot of cool things with live stream. All those meet and greets they did where they were at different Republican places, they could have just live streamed those on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it would have helped. It definitely would have helped. Even if you snag 2 or 3 more votes, it's still helping. And it's educating people on and at this point is educating people on who Mr. Oliphant is, and they can understand his policies and understand what he's up against with Eugene Vidman for us in District 7. But if a large majority of people that are voting Republican are telling you that they didn't even know that a primary was going on, something's wrong.
You're right.
And the voting numbers bear that out to be true.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this: in my district, Congressional District 5, there were, and again, what we're telling you folks is all unofficial. Keep that in mind. This is all
unofficial numbers.
Okay. But they're not going to change a whole lot. There were for the Democratic primary, there were 3 Democratic candidates and that were running against. One was Tom Perriello. Like I said, he's an old term. We used to call him one-term Tom back in the Obama days. But there were 37,000 ballots cast for the Democrat primary. For the Republican primary, there was almost 50,000 votes cast. That's huge.
That's a big difference.
That's a big difference. So in Congressional District 5, people were fired up. The Republicans were more fired up than the Democrats.
Yeah.
As far as turnout. Now, in 7, I don't know if you've already said this, Will, but in 7, there were, let's see. There were about 24,000 ballots cast for the Republican, and of course there was no Democrat primary.
Yeah, and 7's a huge district.
Yeah, it is, and it's a purple district.
Yeah, it's a very flippable district. I really do pray Mr. Oliphant runs a great campaign.
Yeah, we pray and wish him the best.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just commenting on numbers.
We're just reporting the numbers, folks. We're not endorsing. We're not saying that it's impossible. This is just the numbers.
Yeah, it's just the numbers. And if I was the Republican Party, if it was me, I would be whatever sort of war room office type situation they have. I'd be reevaluating everything.
Yeah.
Because the numbers are the numbers. That's the great thing about numbers.
What'll be interesting to see is if Trump comes out and endorses Doug, because he didn't in the primary.
Well, what is interesting is Trump batted quite well on his endorsements.
Would he get 13 or 16?
I don't know the top number.
I thought I saw 16. but I may be wrong on that. But I thought that's what I saw.
Yeah, his batting average was pretty good.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Now, John McGuire, he's Trump endorsed, so it'd be interesting to see if Doug is able to get Trump's endorsement during the campaign.
It would help.
I would thought that he would have already done that, or at least be. Of course, he could say, "Well, I'm playing it smart. I'm going to see who wins the primary first." He could be. That was bad.
That was pretty good. That was better than me.
Yeah, that's maybe what he's trying to do. But it'll be interesting to see if he gets Trump's endorsement, because like we said before, Winsome got his endorsement. It was just a day late and a dollar short.
Yeah, it was at the very last second.
Yeah, so we'll see. That'll be interesting to find out whether he does or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on. For people, if you didn't know the primaries were going on,
stay close to kingdompolitics.com.
Yeah.
.org.
Subscribe and follow.
You'll have all the information that you need.
Yeah, we'll make sure you're informed. But we got to get involved, and we have to have Christians out there being involved in the process and get these numbers up. But we're going to move on to a story. So if you're listening on the podcast, don't worry. You're going to get a little music here, and then we're going to explain the story. But if you're watching on video, we're up in our game. And so these will be going forward. We have little intros into the segment. So like I said, if you're listening on the podcast, don't worry, we'll explain. Okay, we're going to dive into two different cases outside of the state of Virginia. The first one comes to us from Michigan. There's a lot going on in Michigan, but Dr. Huffman, if you want to break this down for us.
Yeah, there was a physician's assistant by the name of Valerie Klosterman. She had worked for the University of Michigan Metropolitan Hospital. The Metropolitan Hospital was owned by the University of Michigan, and she had worked for them a number of years, and they were basically saying that she had to go through training, LGBTQ plus training, for gender identity also, and for basically how to handle, people of, different gender identities than their biological sex. And so what they were requiring, what she basically said, she asked for religious accommodation based upon her religious belief that
one man and one woman.
Yeah, there's no gender, there's sex. It's the way God created you. And basically the court, this happened back in I'm looking for the timetable here. It happened back in August of 21, where she was actually fired. And basically she filed several different cases against Metropolitan Hospital. One was a free exercise violation. One was a free speech violation. Title VII, religious discrimination, and equal protection, 14th Amendment. Now, the courts threw out all her motions except the free exercise, the free speech, and I also think that they kept the Title VII, religious discrimination motion, but they threw out everything else. It was a total of about 6 or 7 motions that she made in that case, and I think they threw out all but 3 of them.
Yeah, 7 stayed in.
Yeah. So, like I said, the ones that survived was the free exercise, the equal protection, Title VII under the religious discrimination, and Title VII under the accommodation. Basically, she was saying that Title VII requires, and it does, Title VII is a federal law that requires a religious accommodation. If you work and if you work in a secular environment, you have to make religious accommodations. Most people will remember back during COVID,
right,
when employers were requiring their employees to take the COVID vaccination. I can remember helping people write their religious accommodation sentences, statements to their employer.
Yeah, I signed some.
And so we were successful in all of those, actually. So this went to court, and they litigated it for well over a year. And evidently, when things weren't going very well, the district court made a ruling on August the 5th of 2024 that they would dismiss the case because the defendants asked, the hospital asked, to go into arbitration. And the circuit court in April 5th of 2024 agreed that we could go into arbitration. And so they dismissed her case. And basically, arbitration is you sit down at a round table with a bunch of lawyers and you try to settle this thing out of court. Well, she wasn't satisfied with that because she shouldn't have been satisfied with that. So on August the 27th of 2025, over a year later, this is how slow the judicial system works in the United States. The Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals in Michigan reversed the lower court's decision, saying that, listen, guys, you can't litigate something for over a year and then when it's not going your way, now we want to go into arbitration. No. So this is going back to courts. Well, our latest information that we have found is that they have reached a settlement.
Correct.
First Liberty, they have reached a settlement where they have got to pay $410,000 to Valerie in damages and attorney fees, and they have to have a religious accommodation statement. So this is, like I said, she was fired on August 29th of 2021, and in July of this year, they had reached a settlement.
Yeah, and they also have to do a new policy. I want to read, this is from First Liberty's website in their press release. Under the new policy, employees will not be required to perform or assist with gender transition treatments, including procedures, medications, and referrals, if doing so would violate the employee's sincerely held religious belief. Employees also will not be required to use pronouns in a way that violates their sincerely held religious belief or conscience. That policy is put in there, I guarantee you, because they were making people do it.
Yeah. Well,
that's part of the settlement.
Well, she was willing. She says, how about I just call them by their names? Klosterman wasn't trying to be obnoxious.
No, so let's give her some context. She's the third generation in her family to work for that local healthcare system. She was there for 17 years, and she regularly received exemplary reviews, and supervisors called her professional and very ethical and a pleasure to work with until this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For 17 years.
Yeah. It's amazing how the dogs turn on you.
Yeah. How quick.
Yeah.
And how quick they are to dismiss it's the cult of all of this stuff is.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just selfish pride.
Yeah.
Pride. Pride is the great disobedience to the Lord.
Yeah.
And that's all any of this is.
Mm-hmm.
On the LGBT stuff. It's just pride.
Yeah.
It's all it is. It's a disobedience to the Lord, and it's pride because you don't allow someone else to have any kind of rational thought about it at all. To the point where, wait, this part is important too. How quickly did they fire? It was like 3 weeks.
Oh, yes, quick.
Yeah, so it's in the video, but so she had to go to the mandatory training, and then she asked for the religious accommodations, because what they were asking her to do again violated her beliefs. So let's contrast the before the training and after the training, right? Before the training, her reviews stated that she was professional, very ethical, and a pleasure to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then she asked for a religious exemption. Now, during follow-up meetings, a Michigan Health diversity representative. So first off, somebody in the hospital is getting paid a lot of money to do no work. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Called Klosterman evil blamed her for gender dysphoria related suicides and told her she could not take the Bible or her religious beliefs to work with her. Less than a month later, she was fired. So, like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's fast.
It is. It is. It is. And, you know, what we need to realize, not to bring it home already, because there's some other things that we maybe need to say about that case, but we're looking at a marriage amendment in Virginia, and we've spoken about this I don't know how many times on this program, but looking at that marriage amendment in Virginia, it separates sex and gender. This is happening in Michigan. Not only is it going to happen in Virginia, it's already happened in Virginia. I don't know how many of you all remember the case of Grime v. Gloucester County School Board back in 2019, where
is that the school teacher?
Yeah, where it says that the passage defines gender identity and holds that discrimination against transgender people is actionable sexual discrimination under Title IX because you're engaging in gender stereotype. Well, this is what happens though when you pull a progressive judge on the bench, because Title IX does not say anything about discrimination versus sexual identity. It says you cannot do sexual discrimination. It does not. Title IX does not say that you can't do discrimination based on sexual identity. They have broadened this. The progressive judge in that case broadened the statute on that. So it's already happening in Virginia, and if this becomes a constitutional amendment, goodness, the floodgates are going to open on this.
I just don't. The whole thing drives me nuts. Where are the adults?
Yeah.
This is for centuries. A man is a man and a woman is a woman.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Right.
It's really not. And you know what really drives me nuts is we were just talking about COVID a second ago. These are the same people that will tell you to trust the science. And how did that go for everybody?
Yeah, really.
What's his face?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah. Fauci just got up and pled the fifth for 111 times because he didn't want to say what he did because he lied.
Did you see David Chappelle's skit on that?
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is Miss Klosterman, I know she's a PA. I don't know the official title for that, so I apologize for not saying it if I didn't know it. But she wasn't asking for anything crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher that you looked up, I know that story. He also wasn't asking for anything crazy. He was asking to just call them by their name.
Right.
And I'm not sure what she asked, but I know that case in Virginia, the teacher just asked for that.
Mm-hmm.
We covered the state Supreme Court case. We did that one last week with I know we've covered it a few times with the Montgomery County Public Schools.
Yeah.
All the parents were doing was asking for an opt-out. That was it.
That's it.
They didn't say stop teaching. They didn't say any of that. All they asked for was an opt-out. All these two people were asking for was an opt-out.
Yeah.
But it can't be. They force it upon you.
Yeah.
Because you can't question it.
Correct.
But it's the same people who will scream at you about trusting the science. You can't question that. And it's the same people screaming about their rights being taken away. Where? This lady's rights legitimately were taken away.
Exactly. She was, her First Amendment rights were taken away. I mean, she, not to mention the wrongful termination, but
yeah,
her free exercise clause right was taken away. Her freedom of speech right. Well, I mean, that wasn't one of the statutes she went and sought, but her free exercise was taken away. Her free speech was taken away. Her religious freedom was attempted to be taken away, and she's to be applauded for fighting back.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. And it took, let's see. So it started in 2021. she was, and her first suit was filed in 2022. So it's 2026. I can't see when the first suit was filed. So we'll say 4 years, though.
Yeah.
4 years of dealing with courts and lawyers over what?
Yeah.
Because, and by the way, people, especially at the hospitals, follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
And this sounds like a conspiracy theory thing, but what do they get with transgender patients? You get a patient for life. They have to come get the other hormones because your body doesn't produce it.
Yep.
They have to come for surgeries. They have to come for all these things, and the hospitals are just making money.
Yep.
That's all it is. That's why they do it.
Yep. Yep.
And people fall for it. And then if you try to say something, you're the bad guy.
Yeah, and this is just going to get worse and worse. I mean, not only do we see it in Grimes versus Gloucester County Public School, but we see it in Monaghan v. Department of Motor Vehicle right here in down there in Richmond, where a transgender man sued DMV for sexual transition discrimination, and the Fourth Circuit determined that any policies, quote, affecting transgender individuals are subject to, quote unquote, immediate scrutiny. Now, obviously, neither you nor I believe that somebody ought to be mistreated because they suffer from gender incongruence or they struggle because they're not believers in Jesus Christ.
I'm just tired of hearing about discrimination.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a third world country?
No. Well, I've been to Washington D.C. a couple times.
They cleaned it up. The metro is still a little rough. I've been to a third world country. I've been to a few. Come talk to me when you can't get water.
Right.
You can't even get clean water.
Right.
And now we have people over here. We're so well off as a country. And people will complain about Elon Musk, and I'm going to go off on a rant now, but about trillionaires and this and that. But you know what? Come talk to me when you can't get clean water.
Mm-hmm.
When that's a problem.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your rights getting taken away? Try to be a Christian in Nigeria right now.
Yeah.
They're just murdering them.
Yeah.
And people have the audacity to be, no one's taking anyone's rights away. Matter of fact, President Trump doesn't even do anything about this stuff.
Right.
Now, he signed whatever executive order way back in January about boys and girls sports. But guess what execution has happened? Or enforcement, rather. 0.
Mm-hmm.
There's still girls and boys sports. I mean, sorry, the other way around. There's never any girls and boys sports. Boys and girls sports all over the country. Yeah. 0 enforcement of it. He just signed it. Now, I don't know if Trump has, I have no idea what it's like to be the president. But he didn't sign that and nothing has happened. To the point where now the WNBA is like embroiled in this whole thing because Sophie Cunningham came out and said that there shouldn't be boys and girls sports. It's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not. And if it's all hypocritical stuff anyway, because if the WNBA was for real about supporting trans people, they would let a man play basketball.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If they were for real about it and they believed what they were saying and they weren't just trying to, I don't know, do their socialist thing, they would let a dude play basketball with them.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably win the MVP real fast. LeBron was just looking for a new team not that long ago. They could have reached out to him.
Yeah.
But it's for Christians on this. It's going to cost something one day in this country to be a Christian. Mm-hmm. That's the way we're headed.
Yeah.
Now, you and I are working hard to try to hold that off for as long as we can. But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's happening already.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah. Well, the fact of the matter is, Will, Virginia law in 2.2-3901 of Virginia Code, it already expressly protects gender identity. from discrimination. And so the burden of proof. The funny thing about this is because of the way Virginia law reads, it's almost now, it doesn't say this in statute, but I'm making an assessment here.
Yeah.
Because of the permissions that Virginia code gives, again, you can look this up, 2.2-3901. Because of the permissions that Virginia code gives, it's almost like the way the law usually works is the burden of proof. When you go to court, when you're being prosecuted, the burden of proof falls on prosecution.
Right.
They have to, in other words, they have to, beyond a reasonable doubt, prove their case. And if they don't, that guy may be guilty of sin, but if they do not, beyond a reasonable doubt, fulfill the burden of proof, then the defendant is found not guilty. But it's almost like when you're in transgender cases and you're being sued for discrimination, like the Department of Motor Vehicle was, it's almost like the burden of proof is on the defense to prove we didn't do it instead of the way it's supposed to be because of the way our laws stand, because there are already laws in Virginia that protect gender identity.
But
now,
what's the discrimination? If you draw
that's it.
someone's blood,
That's
it's going to tell you what they are.
That's it.
I
okay.
don't even understand the argument.
Well,
anymore.
okay. Well, like that woman.
I mean, I know what you're saying.
Like that man that was transitioning to a woman at DMV. Okay. If you go back and read the case file, she was claiming some type of harsh treatment, harassment, or something like that. Okay, so what is the discrimination? I didn't get a promotion. Well, can you prove that you didn't get that? You didn't get that promotion because you were transgender? But like I was saying, the burden of proof is not on the plaintiff.
No, you're right
to
about
prove that I didn't get this I did not get this promotion because I'm transgender. The burden of proof in Virginia these days is the defense has to prove, well, that they didn't get this promotion because they did not get this promotion because they're transgender. They did not get this promotion for these reasons. This person was better qualified. Had nothing to do with their sexual identity or gender identity.
It's always victim.
Yeah, the legal system. Gender dysphoria and incongruence has flipped the judicial system on its head, and now the burden of proof lies with the defense and not the plaintiff the way that it should be. Now, you and I don't believe in discrimination, even against those people that are confused about their biology. Okay? What we are also against is frivolous lawsuits to promote sin.
I just can't believe we're still dealing. I don't understand. Here's the baseline of the ideology. Here's the very baseline of it. It's selfish, yes. But the very baseline of it is that unless you, as my friend or whatever, validate who I am, you're a terrible person. Mm-hmm. That's the baseline of the teaching.
Yeah.
Whether they want to admit that or not, it doesn't matter. That's the baseline of the teaching. You would never teach a 3-year-old that. You would never go to someone and be like, unless that person tells you exactly who you are and tells you, and you would never do that.
Right.
Ever. But that's what we've allowed to have happen. And then we've just exploded it by telling people that they're victims and this and that. And I'm sorry, it is stereotype after stereotype, because if you're a girl that likes boy things, well, now you must be a boy though. Right. No, you can just like boy things. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, right.
You can like baseball or whatever. It doesn't make you a boy.
Right. No.
It's just ridiculous. And then you have people that just stereotype women, and that's all they're doing is just playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, oh gosh, it's just exhausting at this point.
Well, 2.2-3901 of Virginia Code is a code of definitions, and here's how they define it. This is how they define the term in the Code of Virginia, gender identity. When used in reference to discrimination in the code and acts of the General Assembly, means the gender-related identity, appearance, or other gender-related characteristics of an individual with or without regard to the individual's designed sex at birth. So, when only thing I have to do is cry discrimination. That's why they keep using that word. all I have to do is cry discrimination, and all of a sudden I've got an audience and I've got a favorable result, unless the defense can hold up their burden of proof.
Yeah, where does it stop?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just think, Will, 25 years ago, if some of the ways that the Code of Virginia read right now, 25 years ago even, in our lifetime, people, they'd have looked at people. I remember back in the 80s, homosexuality was still, you didn't come out of the closet
90s.
in the 80s and 90s. You just didn't. If you did, you were targeted. You were boycotted. Now you're boycotted if you speak the truth about it. I mean, just think about it in our lifetime, how people would have handled back in the 90s and the 80s, somebody that says that's a boy that says, well, I'm going to dress up as a girl. They just saw them as mentally ill. And in fact, in our medical journals, up until not too far long ago, our medical journals in America did show gender dysphoria and gender incongruence as a mental illness. They took it out because of PC pressure, but it for a long, long time was issued as a mental illness.
That's my argument. It's the only thing that I have ever heard of where the answer is to let it rip.
Yeah.
If you're depressed and you go to the doctor and you're like, doctor, I'm depressed, he doesn't tell you to go home and sit in the dark and listen to sad music and just make yourself more depressed.
No.
It's not the answer.
No.
The answer is to go out in the sun, go to church, go to the gym, get some sweat going. That's the answer.
Yep.
Call a friend or whatever it is you got to do.
Yep.
But this is the only one where the answer is we just go for it.
Yeah.
Really? That's the best we can do? And then now you just got a whole bunch of victims that just discrimination and you're hateful. And I don't hate anybody. You know how much effort it takes to hate someone?
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. I feel sorry for them. I could not go around looking at everyone and being like, well, that person doesn't tell me who I am, so I must be oppressed. Get out of here. Go live in a communist country, and then you'll see what real oppression is.
Yeah, exactly.
All them people voting for Muslims to go over there and find out. I've been there. Let me tell you, you find out real quick they're not as nice as you think they are.
No.
When it comes to this transgender stuff, you're going to find out real fast that you actually do have some rights they can take away. It's called your life.
Yeah.
But where, I don't know. This stuff drives me. It upsets me because it's never, like in her case, and then we got to do the next one. But in her case, you know, all she was asking for was, and she won. And so this is the thing too. They keep losing, but it takes years.
Yeah. Well, what's this, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, but all of them do. The teachers that have sued, and it's all across the country. The football coach that they got for praying during after the game. That was Washington State. High school football coach. And so they went, of course, to Baker in Colorado. There's all kinds of cases, right? But it takes years to go through the process.
Well, because they're hoping you're just going to quit.
Yeah, they want you to quit.
I mean, it's the old prosecutorial it's the old prosecutorial play.
Yeah.
How do you make a defense team less effective in a case? You bury them in discovery.
Oh yeah.
If you can bury them into discovery, then they're not as prepared as they need to be because the court date isn't going to move. And so when they win the motions for discovery, you send over 55 banker boxes full of files and say, here's your discovery, boys, have at it. And you bury them in discovery. And so what do they do with these? They drag on these court cases and continuances, hoping that the person is going to run out of stamina, run out of desire, or run out of money.
Yeah.
And then they win. Because the Commonwealth's got plenty of money. Commonwealth's got more money than I do.
Yeah, got ours.
Yeah.
They'll just take more of it. They'll tax you on something else.
Raise it. Yeah, just tell Abigail. She'll raise your taxes.
Nah, you got to get a hold of her first. She's hiding out somewhere. But it's just going to be a reckoning on all this stuff one day.
Yeah.
And it's already happening. You have all these people. I don't know how much you've seen of people that have detransitioned. And and heard their stories. It's heartbreaking. It's utterly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it's obvious this is not the answer.
Right.
And yet people do it anyway. I don't know why. It's not loving.
No.
It's not loving your neighbor. I had a pastor one time, a progressive pastor, try to tell me that I wasn't loving. And I said, you know what? You're going to find out. You're going to find out one day. And I told him this. I said, sir, you're going to find out one day when somebody comes to you that detransitions and their parents come with them, and they're going to ask you why you said this was okay, and that young lady's life is forever changed. She can't have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to ask you.
Yep.
And you're going to have to answer because you didn't actually help.
Yeah.
You just made it worse.
Yeah.
Because you thought it just drives it hurts so many people. It really.
But how many times, Will, do workplace discriminations? Okay, here's the thing that bugs me. And of course, you and I've talked about lots of people are probably thinking there's a lot that bugs those two. But
it all shows what bugs us.
Yeah, we ought to change this show to what bugs us today.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the discrimination against those people that don't want to do it? You go into a workplace and you're commanded by your employer that you have to refer to people by their preferred pronoun. Well,
that's what I mean.
Because if you don't, you're discriminating against it. What about discriminating against me because you're trying to make me do it?
Yeah.
They don't think about it. They don't worry about that. So
no, they don't care.
So how many workplaces and environment in the Commonwealth of Virginia has that happened that we don't know about because the person just does it to keep their jobs? Even Christians just does it to keep their jobs.
Oh, it happens all the time.
Absolutely, it does.
The progressive stuff drives me crazy. I don't even like calling them that anymore. I usually say the left or something like that because it is never about everyone's rights. It is never about discussing things. I'll tell you, after Roe v. Wade, I had somebody call me one time, and it was right after Roe v. Wade got overturned. And so, of course, all the pro-choice people were freaking out that abortion was going to get allowed and all this stuff, right? And so this person that I know worked at a tech company, like a pretty rich one, she loved her job and she loved what she did at the company.
Mm-hmm.
But after that happened, Roe v. Wade, and of course we got the newspaper in the background, it got overturned. The company sent out a company-wide email and said that if Virginia does anything with abortion, they will pay you to go out of state. And she called me and she didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
She's a very strong Christian. And she liked her company. She liked her job. She liked her coworkers. And she had no idea what to do with that.
Yeah.
And that stuff happens all the time. They cry and scream about oppression and Donald Trump's taking this and that and what?
Mm-hmm.
You're the ones taking people's rights away. You're the ones that are taking people to court.
Yeah.
You're the ones that are firing rifles.
Yeah.
It's utterly, and you know what? The Democrats, particularly in Virginia, will go all the way down the road with these people. And you look at the pride stuff, the parades or whatever, and they're doing all this stuff in front of kids.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
You're right.
Where are the adults in the Democrat Party? Nowhere to be found because the socialists are taking over.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yep. Absolutely it is. It absolutely is. Yep.
Well, we got another tough one, so we're going to play you got anything else on that one, sir?
No, I think we got that one.
All right, let's do this next one, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, sir, take us through this Oregon one, and I'll give everyone a fair warning if you're a parent that loves their kids. This one's a tough one.
Well, the state of Oregon, the wonderful state of Oregon, the blue state of Oregon, very blue, has the DHS or the DSS rather, has removed a child from the home of a family there. Their last name was Calloway, David and Nicole, I think is their name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Their last name is Calloway. I think that it's David and Nicole. Because they refused to affirm her gender identity. And they were,
Yeah, you're right.
was it David Nicole? Okay.
Yep.
They were accused of mentally injuring the child. And so she was removed from the home. And as far as I know, it wasn't a foster situation. That was their child.
No, it was their child.
Yeah. And so there was a section of the federal code, 1355-22, that was slated to go into law on October the 1st of this year, and it basically stated that any child who had a gender identity contrary to their biological sex, that could play a role in whether or not a child was placed in a foster home, of whether or not the family would affirm that. And if the family would not affirm that, they could use that as a reason why they would not place that foster child into that home. Now, that, I think at the end of July, that was vacated, so it's not going to happen, but it was slated to take effect October the 1st of this year, but it will not do that now. But point is, that kind of gives you an idea of where our society is going. So, folks, listen, it's happening in Oregon, just like the Klosterman case. It's happening in Michigan. It's going to happen in Virginia. It's happening in Oregon. It's going to happen in Virginia, especially with this amendment. And so this is why, Will, we keep shouting the trumpet. Listen, you have got to get out and get everybody that you know out to vote no on these constitutional amendments, because if it's happening in Oregon, it's going to happen in Virginia. You will lose your children if you do not affirm their gender identity. If your kids get around the wrong group and they decide, even if your kids come from a Christian family, your children get around the wrong group, and they are influenced by those people, and they decide that they want to identify something else. This is a situation with David and Nicole in Oregon. They are losing their children. Their child, I think she's 15 years old. They're fighting for the right to keep their child because they refuse, because of religious reasons, to affirm her sin. And Oregon says, okay, you've just committed child abuse. I mean, they're equating this, Will, to child abuse. And so when this comes part of the Constitution, when they separate sex and gender as far as part of the Constitution, then don't be surprised when this starts to happen in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Yeah, they're equating it. So they filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit against the state of Oregon, and we'll have to wait to see what happens on that because it's in the process. But yeah, they equated it to child abuse. I'm sorry, same thing as before. Oregon doesn't have better things to do.
Yeah, really.
There's not actual child abuse going on in Oregon.
Right.
Children are not actually being abused.
Right.
Or trafficked.
Right.
Or any of the other litany of problems that our children have.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's, I think it was about a year ago or something. I don't know. A little while ago, we had a meeting at our church with the kids ministry. And I told them, I said, you guys are the most important thing in the church right now. Kids ministry in church is probably the most important it's been in the history of the entire church.
Right.
And parents, if you're not raising your kids, because you're right, that you can teach them the Bible and you can teach them Christian values and all this good stuff. But when they go out with their friends, they're out with their friends. And you don't know what's going on. It's the same thing with exposure to pornography. Do you know what the average age of exposure to pornography is now?
I heard 8.
8.
Yeah.
8 years old.
Incredible.
This is, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, what kind of society do we want to have? Do we want to have a Christian society? Do we want to have a society that prospers and goes on? Or do we want to have Romans 1 society where we've just given up?
Right.
And Christians need to decide that. You either gave up or you're in the fight.
Right.
It's not one or the other. There is no like silo thing like, why, I'm preaching the gospel. So no, you're either in this or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can be, theologically, I don't agree with Amish people, but I have great respect for them. They said, we don't want to be part of this. We have our own thing, and that's what they do. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't agree, but I respect it. But a lot of churches are trying to do the same thing, except they're trying to do both.
Yeah.
And
I think Jesus Christ says that when you try to do both, I think that was what Jesus Christ said. And this, I have heard for years that we are living in the Laodicean age. And I think when churches try to do both, I think those are the type of churches that Jesus Christ says that I will vomit you out of my mouth. You make me sick.
And the other part too, like for parents, where are you supposed to go if you can't go to the church?
Right.
Because otherwise you're alone. And that's where the church has got to do a better job. They've got to stand up. And when these things happen, I don't know any churches in Oregon. So I'm just commenting in general. Maybe somebody did it, help them out in Oregon. But the church has got to start doing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to go to court.
Yep.
You're going to have to stand. And sooner or later, for churches in America, you're going to have to stand whether you want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, you're going to have to make the choice to stand, whether you want to make that choice or not.
Yeah.
It's going to be forced upon you.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing it all over the place. And this isn't the only story where a child has been taken out of the home. It's not good. And we said a week ago, when it comes to the schools, we said the state thinks they can do a better job with your kids than you do.
Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about. This is what they want. They want to take and raise your kids because they think they can do it better than you. And so
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's just mind-boggling that someone would equate this. It's, you know how many women got trafficked or children got trafficked when Biden opened the borders?
Oh, my word.
Where are the Democrats there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are the Democrats when all this stuff gets paraded in front of children and they say that it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where's your morality then? It's just sickening to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a sinner before the Lord. I have my own morality issues and I've had to repent for.
Sure.
But good gracious, like some of this stuff we just used to all agree on.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff stays away from kids.
Yeah.
That used to just be a societal handshake. Cool. Yeah, we can have these discussions, but now we can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be kids involved. Why?
Yeah. It's incredible. But like I said, like we've been talking about, we can't keep our heads in the sand with this, folks, because if this becomes a constitutional amendment, the floodgates are going to open and you're going to start seeing massive, and this is not a scare tactic, but you're going to start seeing massive discrimination, to use their word. I know you hate that word, Will, but to use their word, massive discrimination against Christians with their kids and CPS. If it's happening in Oregon, it's going to happen in Virginia. CPS will come after your kids, and this gender thing will just be the beginning.
Yeah, but there's been again, the trust the science people don't listen to the science.
Right.
There's been study after study that particularly teenagers, if they go through this, they all grow out of it.
Right.
Because you're a kid and you don't know what you're doing because you're a child.
Right.
It's so weird on the left. Here's what boggles my mind about the left. They want to let teenagers do adult things, but then when the adults are adults, they treat them like children.
Yeah. Amazing.
You got to make up your minds. And you know what's going to happen. This is my theory on where we're headed, particularly in Virginia, but in other blue states as well. And I think I'm kind of on the right track with this. I don't see a viable national leader for the Democrat Party, like for president. Maybe one comes along. But right now, they don't have any.
Right.
But what they have started doing is setting up these blue haven states where all this stuff goes, like Colorado, like California, like Oregon, like Washington State, and now Virginia. Because you're always going to have places like Tennessee, Florida, Texas, right? These are Republican states. Even if there's Democrats from those states, they're not, well, I guess Tallarico's from Texas. But you know what I mean? Like they're more
always
common sense leading.
You're always going to have a Dallas.
Yeah.
Which is blue, but then you've got the surrounding areas.
Right.
Like San Antonio.
Yeah. But now what they've done is when they get these super majorities like we have in Virginia, they just let it rip.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to pass as much as they can possibly pass. And before you know it, and again, this all wraps up into what we've been talking about from the very beginning. People aren't voting anymore because people are frustrated because the Republicans can't put up some W's.
Right.
But they're also not changing any tactics.
No.
Because they think Trump's going to come in and wave a wand and save the day for them.
Yeah.
But instead, the Democrats just keep firing people up. They keep bringing in people. They keep going further and further down this socialist thing. And then where are we at in 5 years?
Yeah.
When Spanberger leaves? About 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And now Virginia is a blue haven, just like Massachusetts, just like all these other states.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have people, because here's what's going to happen is the people that live here that are common sense people, they're going to get fed up and they're going to leave.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to pay the taxes. They're not going to want to keep paying to send their kids to private school. And they're just going to leave.
Well, I mean, look at Nick Freitas.
And it's already happening.
A former delegate in Virginia House of Delegates. Now lives in Tennessee. Because he told me I can't afford to live in Virginia any longer. So
yeah,
it's already happening.
Yeah, it's already happening. And then who's left behind?
Yeah. If the thing about it is if the good people abandon ship, then the only people left to row the boat are the evil, or the people that are going to drive you to the rocks.
Yeah, but also the good people need to stand up and do something.
Oh no, exactly right.
And also the people in charge need to listen to new people who might have good ideas that can help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because obviously what we're doing is not going well. And
I'll just say this. Almost the entire SCC in Virginia needs to be replaced.
I don't know why the RNC doesn't look at, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know nationwide party protocols. But at some point, like wins and losses matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Turnout matters.
Yeah.
All these things matter. And I think they've kind of, again, I think my state thing is kind of on the right track because I think the RNC has just said, at a national level, has just said, well, you know what? They don't really, we're not going to go there. We're going to spend money elsewhere.
Right.
Because we're already down the path. They just wrote us off.
Yeah.
That's my theory. But there's a bunch of us who are trying and still have common sense. So much of this is common sense. It's not even that difficult. Man, you picked two hard ones this week. That kid stuff drives me crazy.
I know, right? He always say hate to talk about kid stuff.
I don't understand it. All right. We'll be back next week. You got anything to plug, sir? We got a bunch of stuff coming up, but I think we're waiting for a meeting to. Or no, we already did announce a bunch of them.
Yeah, we've got some meetings coming up. If you want to schedule us to come to your church, you can. I don't know, who do they call?
No, you can just go to the website.
Just go to the website?
thekingdompolitics.org,
Okay.
and all the information's right there.
Yeah.
And you can send an email. No need to call. We'll reach out to you.
Yeah. Just send an email, and also remember, VAIB, the Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists, is fighting for your religious liberty alongside Kingdom Politics. We fight together, but you can email me at director@vaib.org if you want to get on our Capitol alerts, let you know what's going on in Richmond, and we'd let you know how federal law will affect Virginia law. So we let you know about all that stuff. We give you legal precedents, legal cases. We let you know. We make you aware of everything that's going on. So email me at director@vaib.org and give me your email address. Email me about this program at drmichael@thekingdompolitics.org, and go to kingdompolitics.org. Read our articles. We have several articles on there. Good stuff on there. Watch our videos. You can catch up on previous shows. Like and subscribe to this show, and let's get even farther worldwide.
Yeah. And parents, I just want to say something real fast. Parents, be involved in your kids' lives. You don't have to be a helicopter parent, but know who their friends are. Know what apps they're on.
Yeah.
Be involved in your kid's life. Don't just hand them a phone and think everything's okay.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know exactly what happened in Oregon, but know who your kids' friends are, their names, and their parents. And be involved. You don't have to helicopter around them or anything like that, but be involved, because good gracious, we got to start. We got to get going.
Yeah.
Okay. But like and subscribe, share the episode. Again, everything's on the website, thekingdompolitics.org. And like and subscribe. And, we want to obey God. We have to obey God first.
Yes.
Right out of the book of Acts. Man, we have gone. Men, humans, we're way off to the rocker. God never changes, though.
Amen.
He is the bedrock foundation of everything. So we'll see everybody next week.
God bless.
And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Rise up, Christ one. Only bow to his throne, Satan. Try and temper, he ain't loud